people know that, game engine is the future of animated production, but they, it's like it's unproven. So we have funds to de-risk and, to support people who are the pioneers who are willing to try and prove and make it work for them.
Today, we are pleased to welcome someone who's done a lot to bring closer the traditional filmmaking and the game industry. Under his management, Epic Games invests tremendous efforts to adapt his real-time engine to the movie production processes. I'm pleased to welcome Marc PETIT, General Manager of Unreal Engine at Epic Games. Hi, Marc. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Eli. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good, and so excited to have you in, actually.
Well,
maybe just before.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, okay. No, just before we start, maybe worth to remind to our audience that we're gonna have a Q&A session at the end of the talk. So if you want to address some questions to Marc, please use the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, and then I will make sure to pick up and read a question to Marc. So now, Marc, this is your turn.
Okay, well, thank you very much. So I'll be driving my slides remotely. Thank you, everybody. My name is Marc. It is just a question. Am I going to see my slides on the screen so that we know where we are? Okay, there we are. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. So my name is Marc. I run the Unreal Engine business at Epic Games. I actually used to live in Cannes, so it's super special for me to be there virtually. I'm speaking to you today from sunny North Carolina in Raleigh. So next slide, please. What we're going to be, in the next 30 minutes, what I'm going to try to talk about is how, talk about immersive entertainment and how we look at XR as a medium, as a developing platform, but it's actually a very, very much a proven tool in the space of content creation. And I'm going to try to make the case that real-time 3D is the future of all of entertainment. So we go to the next slide. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Epic Games. So what Epic Games is, we're an interactive technology and digital media company. We build technology for our own products, and then we share it with our fellow developers. We want to have everyone to have the same advantage and capabilities than we do. So everything we build is available to the entire community, and most of the time for free. That's our philosophy. We succeed when our partners succeed. So for example, the online services that make Fornite unique, like the cross-platform capabilities, are available for free to anyone from our Epic Online Service portal. So if we go to the next slide, I'm going to talk about Fornite a little bit. As you know, Fornite is more than a shooter game. It did not attract 350 million people because 300 million people like to shoot at each other, but it's because it's a place for folks to hang out and have fun. I put the 3.2 billion hours number there because to tell you the importance that that interactivity, that immersivity, how it resonates with the younger generation. And if you compare this to the numbers of a platform like Netflix, you're seeing that we're still way below Netflix, but it's becoming the same order of magnitude. And the reason is that, again, the younger generation can, customize that experience, can make it interactive, and we make sure that we keep the content fresh all the time. The next slide is about how we look at Fornite as a platform across all forms of entertainment. You can read the number about the Travis Scott concert, and one thing that's important to us is that helped Travis Scott launch his new album and reach a big audience during the pandemic through Fornite. Travis was able to have an audience. And suddenly I'm hearing myself in production, so that's a little bit difficult. The other aspect of turning Fornite into a generic entertainment platform is, for example, tonight in Party Royale, which is kind of our one of the space in this online universe, we'll have a concert by DJ Diplo. And over the weekend, I'm happy to announce that we'll be screening for free 3 movies from Christopher Nolan, including Batman Begins and Inception. So really, we're trying to establish, again, Fornite as a platform across entertainment. If you're not familiar with Fornite, you can play the Battle Royale game, but you have also Fornite Creative, and you can create your own game. and play other people's game, and then you have this party royale place where people wants to hang out. So, and you can create your own Fortnite platform with Unreal Engine. We had the case over the weekend for the Fête de la Musique in France, where Jean-Michel Jarre had a concert in the VR powered by Unreal Engine, and we heard earlier in presentations about our friends from Zoan in Helsinki making concerts, a virtual concert in Unreal Engine. So if we go to the next slide, where is this all going? Our vision is really to create, the metaverse. I mean, if you look what happened over the past couple of weeks, all of us, our lives have turned digital overnight with the pandemic, and that accelerated a lot of thinking. It was always our thesis that, all of our social interaction, some of our work interaction, our entertainment would turn digital, but we would expect that to turn digital in a 3D environment, persistent online 3D world powered by all of the XR spatial technology. What we've experienced over the past few weeks is a lot of video. We live in a world where the primary medium right now is video, and it's a lot of walled garden platform where I cannot call my mom on FaceTime because she has an Android phone, and those kind of limitations. So we want to build an online 3D platform that has a certain set of characteristics. Particularly around cross-platform, we want anybody to be able to partake in social experiments, regardless of the hardware they use. So that's something that's very important to us, that we break those walled gardens. The other thing is very important to us is the business model behind it. I think we despise advertising-based model. We do not want to be a company that monetizes people data. And we show the way with Fortnite. In Fortnite, people buy the content that they want. They buy the content to customize their own personal identity. And it's a very viable business model. So we see the future of this online 3D platform, the future of this metaverse, and we want to contribute to it to be, again, a strong social platform where it's fair for creators and there is a good monetization model for consumer. So if we go to the next slide, the way we're going to build the metaverse, we need a few things to build the foundation, and that's what we're trying to do with Unreal Engine. We need to be able to provide tools that, for you to create, for creators to create places when people want to go, to create characters that can convey emotion, to create stories and experiences that are truly engaging. And community, we need to be able to share our content and our experience. This is going to be a big part of our lives, so we need to be able to share with our family, our friends, our various social circles, our friends from school, our soccer club, all of those things, independently of hardware platforms. So it's going to be very important. And we need a fair commerce model. If you could go back to the previous slide, please. We need a fair commerce for consumer, but also fair for creators. For example, our Epic Game Store only takes a 12% fee for distribution and transaction, while the rest of the world is standardized on 30%, slide, just because they can. This is the so the foundation of all of that is Unreal Engine, and again, it's free for creator. If you make games with it, there's a very modest revenue share, but outside of games, it's totally free.
La slide suivante, s'il vous plaît.
Yeah. So we've seen the Unreal Engine being adopted in a lot of different industries. You can see the list here. If you buy a car and use a configurator, it's likely to build with Unreal Engine. If you watch the news with a virtual set, it's likely to be with Unreal Engine. So we have a lot of adoption there. And if you go to the next slide, you'll see that we have 11 million users. And I want to show you a minute-long video of what people are doing with Unreal Engine. So if you could play the trailer. Okay, so all of that content is actually rendered in real time with the game engine. I hope you enjoy the diversity of the content. So let's come back to XR and VR. Please go to the next slide where we're going to see that, as I said, XR is developing medium. We're very happy. I mean, it all started at Cannes actually 3 years ago with the reveal of Inarina from Alejandro Inarritu, and there was one of the most compelling experience of a traditional filmmaker getting into immersive storytelling. Immersive storytelling is not a new art form. I mean, we've had circus, opera, ballet, theaters forever. And what's interesting is now we have the technology to digitize those. So not only we see traditional filmmaker trying their hands at VR, like we had Zemeckis and Favreau, but if you go to the next slide, I want to recall a story of some traditional artists that we at Epic are very fortunate to work with. Victor Pilon and Michel Lemieux, they're the pioneers of immersive storytelling. They do artwork and commercial work. They were directing Torque, Cirque du Soleil show, where we gave them a huge piece of gray tarp and some video projectors, and they were able to recreate the magic of Pandora in a hockey arena. If you go to the next slide, they did also an amazing piece of work in Montreal where they used the city of Montreal itself as a canvas to tell the story of the city of Montreal. You have an app to get the sound, and you can immerse yourself into those components, fixed installation with video projection and interactive contents. And so if you go to the next slide, we're very happy to work with Michel and Victor and digitize one of their interactive installation and bring it to VR. So it's my pleasure to announce that we took Icarus, which is a piece from Michel and Victor, and brought it to VR. It's a premiere here at Cannes XR. So I'm going to show you just the trailer of that piece, and you guys get to experience it as part of Cannes XR. So if we can play the Icarus trailer, please. So that's a very powerful piece that was, again, brought from traditional immersive artists brought to VR. I want to show you something else if you go to the next slide, which is an interesting experiment. We were happy to be part of this with Childish Gambino and Weta when we got, to create an immersive experience for 1,600 people at the Pharos Festival and creating a universe, associated graphics to universe to the music of Childish Gambino. VR was a critical tool to create that content so that we could actually get a sense of what it'd been in the dome. But do not think about immersive entertainment as VR as like a solitary experience. I mean, we were happy. When we can have 1,600 people in the same room, I think we can create some real magical universes for people. So if you go to the next video, often, we hear about VR, but I want to say that VR doesn't have to look like 90s graphics. I mean, it's our responsibilities and creators and designers to produce content and people are actually, willing to enjoy and to look at. And, if you need to change tools. But this is the work of Simon Che de Boer in New Zealand. He's an amazing, he's almost, he's legally blind, and he's producing this amazing content. This is a piece from 2017. I mean, that's the benchmark that I think we can have for interactive content. A very, very high fidelity recreation of reality. So, if we go to the next slide, I want to show you how we tackle this problem at Epic. We know that XR is about merging the real and the virtual. So it's super important that we bring the real world into the virtual environment with a super high level of fidelity. So our Quixel team is actually these techniques of called photogrammetry, when we take a bunch of pictures and we create 3D models out of it. And they would completely change the equation and the cost of creating that content. And so we want you to be able to recreate any form of biome, realistic worlds of fantasy world using those those library of scan objects. We're not going to scan the entire planet. I mean, for example, we'll scan enough rocks so that we can use machine learning to generate all the rocks. And we also have a tool that's called Mixer that allows you to stylize those assets. If you're not happy with photorealism, you can actually create like a visual signature, like you make them look like Fortnite or your own artistic vision. Of course, these HoloLens and all of these tools are free for Unreal Engine users, but this is how we're going to tackle and enable you in VR, in AR, or interactive content to create photorealistic world. If we go to the next slide, I mean, the next video, of course, characters are hugely important. It's a big area of investment for us. We want, stories are about human, and human are about sharing emotion, so we bring the tool set to do the kind of thing you see on the screen today, whether it's a human or non-human character. And again, that is something that Unreal is good at and is going to become every better. If we go to the next example I want to show you is that quality imperative works for VR, but also for AR. It's particularly important for AR as the graphics that we produce needs actually to blend seamlessly with the real world. Here, what you can see on the screen is the HoloLens 2 demo, and we're using new technology called pixel streaming so that we can produce photoreal AR content. And with 5G networks and GPUs at the edge of the cloud around the corner, this is the way of the future for AR. By the way, we'll never wear a full-blown graphics computer on our head, so that streaming technology is going to be hugely important. But again, today we have the tools to take the bar in AR to that level of quality. So let's switch gear and talk about entertainment now. If you go to the next video, let's talk about the Star Wars franchise. In 2019, all of the key deliverables for the franchise all had something in common. Is that they all relied extensively on Unreal Engine in shape or form. The game Jedi Fallen Order is built by Respawn using Unreal Engine. Of course, the Fortnite time was built with Unreal Engine. Unreal Engine was used to previs Episode 9, the movie. It was used to render the final pixels of the Mandalorian. It was used to create the VR for Vader Immortal. And it was also used to create the interactive installation in the theme park called Smuggler's Run. So real-time 3D really bring a unified tool set to content creation. And that works for all forms of media, both linear and interactive. So granted, in this case, in 2019, they used the same tools, but not yet the same assets. And that's what we're going to come back to this when you talk about UE5. So what you see here on the screen is, is movies. Movies are the gold standard when it comes to storytelling. And you can see that Unreal Engine is used extensively. If we go to the next slide, I'll give you a glimpse into the production pipeline and try to explain you why Unreal Engine and real-time 3D are actually completely transforming the process of movie making. First, it's real-time. Real-time is instant results. You don't have to wait anymore. Second, it's collaborative. Our editor is multi-user and allows teams to work together, even remotely. As we speak, during COVID, we helped a Netflix project to do production from home. So I could be doing camera work here from North Carolina. Ellie in Cannes could be doing set dressing and lighting, and somebody else could be in mocap suit somewhere in Paris or anywhere in the world and mocap and stream. So again, the core piece of technology is fundamentally multi-user and collaborative. And finally, it's immersive to support VR. VR is a very important tool for filmmakers to understand the worlds they are building, to decide to do scouting, design their camera position and everything. So already from a technology perspective, we bring solutions that none of the traditional tools can do. And so I'll illustrate the rest of the complex diagram by talking about the Mandalorian. If you go to the next slide, please. So it's interesting because when I was living in Cannes back in 1992, I was working for Image, and I was very fortunate to witness and work closely on Jurassic Park, which was, the first big CG movie with Spielberg and ILM. And Jurassic Park was the movie that pioneered and validated CG creature and digital compositing workflows. And for the past 27 years, we've been refining those workflows, and we created a whole new era for movies, and we brought billions and billions of dollars to the box office. And I feel that The Mandalorian, under the visionary leadership of Jon Favreau and ILM again, in one of those turning points in the industry. In the Jurassic Park model, we had to slide down complex problems in many layers, create complex and slow process, put things back together. It takes days and hours, and per shot or frame, it was a very, very complex problem. And so through a lot of post-production, the people on the set, they kind of lost control about the final product. They had to very, very rely heavily and trust the post-production process. With Unreal Engine, we're bringing movie making and creative decision making live to the set, just like it was in the 50s, just like it was in the 60s. We're bringing all of that ability to the set. So let me show you quickly how on the next slide, please. And you'll get it through that video. We're basically turning the set into a full immersive environment with LED screens, and we basically shoot the final frame through the camera. When we need a little bit of green screen, we do it. But we're really, through this multi-user technology and immersive technology, re-empowering the team to work together. Light people take care of light, the DP and the director are live, they see the result, they can interact and create that magic moment that makes that movie can be so good. So we're bringing again all of that ability back on the set. So if you go, I'll show you a glimpse of the next slides, how it's done. Here you can see, how the physical and the virtual set are blending. You can see the motion cameras on the top. Next slide, please. Here you can see that the director, you're actually bringing the environment to the talent. So we're working on a lot of projects because post-COVID, it's hugely important that travel is going to be an issue. So here you can see that not only again we bring everyone to talent, but we can mix physical prop and digital prop. You can see the shiny part is the physical prop. You can see that the CG part is on the ceiling of the wall here. And when you look at it through the lens of Unreal Engine with the magic of color correction, it's all just one nice looking frame. So again, this is how we're transforming movie making, and this is how we're impacting also the rest of the medium. So what's next? Very quickly, I want to give you a glimpse. You go to the next slide. We are amazed by the work that our customers are doing with Unreal, and I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen so far, but we have to be honest. I mean, it's a complex process, and the conversations that we have with our customers are not often about creative. They're often about frame rates and polygon counts and draw code and optimize this and bake that. And it really takes the fun out of the process, and you can do great things, but it's too expensive. So if you go to the next slide, we announced Unreal Engine 5 very recently. And basically the premise of Unreal Engine 5 is we will be able to handle interactive frame rate, the data that you have. If you have this beautiful ZBrush skull that has a gazillion polygon, you can drop it into the engine, it's gonna just work. If you have this CAD data, the car, you can drop it into the engine, it will just work. If you have this complex GIS, you will be those beautiful Quixel Megascan, you can load your scene with all of that content, it will just work. And it will be beautiful because we have our virtual geometry system that's going to handle the very complex content. We have our Lumen new rendering technology that's just the pinnacle of rendering. It's real-time global illumination. So that's how we will, re-empower the artist even further. Again, take the drudgery out of the process and make a tool that is immersive, interactive, collaborative, and again, it works on the data that is readily available. So we're going to watch a very quick trailer about Unreal Engine 5, and then I'll be back with Ellie to take some questions and talk about this. Thank you very much.
Might be.
Thank you very much, Marc, for this wonderful presentation. I guess we have loads of questions here, but I'm just not able to see them. So if the technical room can just screen the question. Do we receive? We have received some question or? Okay, Stan.
Okay, so there is a.
Yeah.
Yes, we have some question. Can I read them out? So
Yeah.
one of the questions, for example, is like how complex is for an independent filmmaker to start using Unreal tools in their productions. Of course, we all know we all know the the work on Mandalorian and the premium productions.
I was hoping for this question, and thank whoever asked you. Thank you, because I think this is the technology that will liberate indie filmmakers and allow them to do high production value content. Today, as we speak, I mean, just look up on the internet. Matt Workman is doing a lot of production work. I mean, you can buy a few TVs on online, a few Vive trackers, and you can create a setup a la Mandalorian in your living room and actually start creating some amazing production. Again, Unreal Engine is free. Blender is a 3D tool that's free. It's really liberating. We had already a few filmmakers like Has Dalal in the UK do really high quality work with all of this tool chain. Again, it is a path for democratization of that high quality visual effects thing. When you have live action, it's always, I mean, I have a green screen behind me. It's still very complex to manage that, but buy yourself a few TVs and you can do in-camera visual effects at home for sure.
Okay, another kind of a question is, so Unreal is a tool that kind of enables that crossover between different mediums, whether it's like VR, AR, XR, etc. How do you see these things coming together in the future? Especially in the last 2 years, what we've seen is really a blend of especially in AAA games, where it's really hard to anymore say whether this is cinema or whether this is a user interaction space. So what are your thoughts on there?
Yeah, I think that's I think this with the example of the Star Wars franchise is very relevant, because we can prove in 2019 we were able to use the same tools to create all this content, but assets were specific to a platform. The Darth Vader in the VR had to be specific to the Darth Vader in the game. And I think that's the beauty of and the promise of Unreal Engine 5 is that we're going to abstract all of that complexity. So you have your super high-end Darth Vader, and you can use the same model in VR, in AR, in movie making, or in a AAA game. And that's why we don't see much of transmedia right now, because it's still complex and expensive. So I think we'll have a technical problem. Well, we don't have a solution for it, the funding. Right now there is silos even in the big studio. The way you fund games versus the way you fund television, the way you fund movies is actually disconnected. But and I think people will soon realize that this technology enabled to create. We're already working on some project where the movie and the games are built on the same asset. So it's going to take time, because it changes funding and changes production processes, and humans, take time to adjust and to prove things out. But I think the technology will be there very, very soon.
I have one more question in this regard. I know it's not exactly our responsibility, but this is Fortnite, of course. And Fortnite really, in a way, is using your engine. It is it's your product in the kind of a widest sense, and it's almost becoming a metaverse or a hybrid where all these forces collide. There is high level of user game interactivity. There is an amazing game world, storytelling, IP, and now you're actually bringing the live events and cinema into that space. No spoilers, of course, but how do you see that kind of space evolving? Is that then going to be that ultimate new medium? Parallels. Somebody even has made parallels to Oasis.
Yeah, I mean, we're at the phase of experimenting. I mean, so we're gonna have a screening of movies in Fortnite this weekend with Christopher Nolan movies. This is all an experiment. I mean, and our purpose is we know that's the way of the future. We want to build it, but what matters, what I want people to remember is this is how we're going to build it that matters. We'll solve the technology problem, but we're going to build in a way that's an open platform where again the business model is fair. We don't want ads, we don't want monetizing people data. That's what matters to us. We're trying to create our source code is on the internet. I mean, everybody can download the source code of Unreal Engine for free. Most of our tools are free. We're really trying because we know that the digital part of our life is becoming more important, and we got the proof over the past few weeks that it's super important that we create a platform that is open above and beyond the technological feat, that is open and fair for everybody. So because, again, it's a big part of our future.
Thank you so much, Eli. If you have some questions, I'm passing the baton back to you. Right now in chat, people are still so mesmerized. I'll let you to jump into a few VR-related questions.
Sorry, with the mic is better. So one question
Absolutely.
from my side will be indie producers' perspective. Can you explain a little more about the financing scheme you have addressed to them and how they can eventually partner also with Unreal Engine? Can you elaborate on this?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So again, we succeed when our partners succeed. It's a fundamental business drivers at Epic. So we set up a fund, $100 million fund called Mega Grant, when we fund experiments, of course, using Unreal Engine or open source. It's kind of one of the two requirements. Either you do open source work or Unreal Engine work. And then we fund a lot of projects so that people get to try it, because we know it's still, it's still a nascent technology. We haven't seen the end of it. So we work with artists like Victoria Shell that I mentioned, through our Mega Grant program. There's a lot. So it's a very simple form. We have a specific focus now on animated shorts. We think that Unreal Engine is mature, for animated content for children television. So we have a very specific effort right now to fund pilot. People know that, game engine is the future of animated production, but it's unproven. So we have funds to de-risk and, to support people who are the pioneers who are willing to try and prove and make it work for them. And of course, we'd love to solve the problem of funding and see more transmedia production happen, because we think that's where the value will shine. I mean, already the Mandalorian can do, a full season of content for half the price of a movie. I mean, the economical benefits of that technology are gigantic and still unproven, but that's why we are putting money on the table to help people prove that you can do this game, those movies, this content with the same assets as of today. So unrealengine.com/megagrants is the place to go.
Okay. Maybe one last question, because we have to wrap up. But do you see some difference between European markets and Asian markets, North American markets in terms of production? I mean, do you think that, for instance, the North American market are more able to develop some production that merge different kind of arts, like you told about a little bit about circus, music, and shows? And do you think there is some major difference between local and regional markets?
Yeah, I think the U.S. market thinks high production value and global products, and so that takes us towards the blockbuster end of the production. And the work we did with Guy Laliberté on One and all of the TV, the movie work. But what's interesting, in China, we had a viral adoption of Unreal Engine, to create all those QQ videos that the kids consume on their phone, and just because of the efficiency of the tool to create, animated content. So we had huge viral adoption on television production in China and in all the price-sensitive market, and I would include Europe. as a price-sensitive market, because the financial benefits of using a game engine, not having to wait for content, and the much lower cost of the tools are. So we see the two angles. So people wants to enjoy the economic, are driven to Unreal with the economical benefits, and in the US we see more, because people have more money, more production budgets there, so they have less pressure there, but they are more experimenting, with the medium at the higher end of the spectrum. So that's the different dynamics that we're observing.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it was very, very enlightening. Hopefully, we will love to have you in real life for next edition. But
I'll be back.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Marc. And
you're very welcome.
Thank you very
Thanks for
much
having me.
Bye bye.